TDS related changes. So a new one coming in, local requirements relating to replacement of gas-powered appliances, electrical system inspection. So this is going to start after January 1st, 2026. So as you know, California is trying to phase out gas appliances. So essentially, after January 1st, 2026, a seller, if aware of the requirements, must disclose the existence of any state or local requirements relating to replacement of existing gas-powered appliances that are being transferred with the property. The disclosure must be made if either the seller or the agent is aware of these requirements. So this is putting it on you as well. So even if your client doesn't know, but you know, you need to make it aware because that is a material fact that you know. The law also requires a statutory notice advising the buyer to obtain an inspection of the electrical system. I'm going to guess that we're going to get some sort of new form for that. This is a TDS related disclosure, which applies to the sale of 1 to 4 unit and mobile homes subject to all TDS applications, exemptions, and statutory termination of rights. The seller property questionnaire will be revised to meet this disclosure requirement. So they're going to update this. Could be on the next forms revision, could be in one of the other ones. They do those twice a year generally. For the purpose of this section, gas-powered appliances include, but not limited to, appliances fueled by natural or propane. So they're not distinguishing one or the other. If it's a gas-powered appliance, doesn't matter if there's a propane tank outside or if you're on city gas. That's going to apply. Exceptions, there's always exceptions, right? Probate, bankruptcy, foreclosure, REOs, certain trusts. So essentially, it's following TDS law, but this is going to be in addition to. So this is coming down the pipeline. The other one that is going to be a change to the TDS, essentially. And this may or may not apply to your area, but seller's receipt of domestic water storage tank assistance. So there are some people out there who have received storage tank assistance, and there's going to be some disclosure for that now. And this one goes in after January 1st, 2025. So if you're in a rural area, one that's been stricken by drought or fires, and the property got some water storage tank assistance, this is when you'll need to know that. So, and this one's, I guess, going to be kind of a small, obscure, one where it really doesn't apply to that many, but you're going to run across it, and now you know. So the seller who received domestic water storage tank assistance or is aware that the real property received such assistance and the real property currently still has the domestic water storage tank shall deliver the prospective buyer a disclosure statement. So a little background on that. In 2020, Senate Bill 513 authorized State Water Resources Control Board to provide grants offering interim relief to households in which a private water well went dry or was destroyed due to drought, wildfire, or other natural disaster. The assistance was made available to households indirectly through programs administered by counties, community water systems, nonprofits, local public agencies. I have not run into this personally in my area. I would suspect there are going to be some areas like this. You get pretty far out into wine country and Temecula, and there's a lot of wells that have run dry out there. So, possibly out in that area. If you've run across it, I'd be curious to see what area you're in, if you've heard of this one. But this will be something that's going to be, it might have its own form, I'm not sure, or they're just going to put a disclosure requirement on either TDS or SPQ. So that's that one. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, except the exemptions are the same for TDS stuff, probate, bankruptcy, foreclosure, REO, certain trusts. Leasing changes. So these are good to know. I do see a lot of you doing leasing, where you're doing tenant placement services. That is a licensed activity. DRE does audit these. I cannot stress that enough, that the DRE audits this. So if you are doing leasing and tenant placement, this isn't just a complimentary thing you're doing for your client. There is a lot of regulation that comes with this, and you have to be very careful with how you are doing your leasing practices. And we've gone over that in some previous webinars, so I'm not going to dive into that too much, but it's good to know some of these important changes that are coming up if you're doing any type of leasing. So landlord tenant application screening fee and application process. So this starts on January 1st, 2025. Prohibits a practice of charging an application fee to a prospective tenant unless the landlord or agent knows or should have known that the unit is available or will be available within a reasonable period of time. Evidently, there are people out there just taking applications fees for a property that is not available or soon to be available. If that's you, don't do that. Authorize the landlord to charge an application fee under limited circumstances. Either the landlord adopts an application screening process whereby all completed applications are considered as provided in the landlord's written disclosed screening criteria in the order the applications received, or the landlord agrees to return the fee to the applicant who is not selected for tenancy. So I have covered this one on previous webinars, probably 2 or 3 times, to have a strict screening process. And now they're saying a disclosed one, meaning type it out on a form, say, this is our screening process. And it's not a bad idea, because then you can't have a tenant claim discrimination or any fair housing issues if you say this is our screening process, and if they don't qualify for it, then they don't qualify for it. But if it's the same screening process from applicant to property, then if you get audited and this gets asked for, you will have, this will be in your favor that you have a strict screening process. If you're doing leasing, this should be explained to your RPO, your rental property owner, of this is why I do this and why this is important and why you want to pay me a fee for putting a tenant in place, because I'm helping you navigate fair housing issues that you may or may not keep up on. A lot of owners think they know, and they don't. And it can get you and the owner in big trouble, because if you are the leasing agent, you are working on their behalf. And so therefore you need to know what the leasing laws are. Otherwise you're practicing real estate outside of your realm of expertise, which we all know we don't want to do. This is why we don't say that's black mold there. And, yes, that electrical panel is not up to code and stuff like that, because unless you are a contractor, you don't say those kind of things, because you don't know, right? You don't have a license to do that. Same thing here. Yes, you can do leasing without getting any type of other license, but if you're going to get into leasing, you have to at least know what the local laws are and help your rental property owner avoid fair housing issues that would also affect you. Credit reports must be provided to the applicant if screening fee is paid, regardless of whether the applicant has requested it or not. This law applies to all residential tenancies of more than 30 days. So we're not talking about Airbnbs, things like that, where it's short term. We're talking about 30 days or more. So this is AB 2493, prohibits a landlord or their agent from charging an application screening fee when they know they should or should have known there was no rental unit available. The provision does not prohibit the landlord from placing prospective tenants on a waiting list, but prevents the landlord from charging an application fee unless they actually have, or within a reasonable period of time, will have a unit available. This is geared a little bit more towards like apartment owners and things like that. Second, the bill permits the landlord to charge an application fee only if they adhere to either of the following. Again, get a strict screening fee and disclose that, or the screening process, put that in writing and let that be known. Other states actually require that. And so now it's looking like we're heading down that way too. So just get that in place and keep it. And as you are talking to your rental property owners, say, here's how I operate. This is why I charge this fee. This helps keep you safe, so on and so forth. And one of those is your screening process. Let's see. If the agent or landlord intends to take application screening fee following criteria 2 above, which is the having the screening process in place, then the law requires that they adopt screening criteria in writing and provide it along with the application. So if you do a lot of this, I would just type one up, put it in your Google Drive or whatever you're going to do, and provide that along with your applications. Let's see, this one here. So this is AB 2747. Tenant may request positive credit reporting. So this is starting January 1st as well. So if you are managing your own properties, or if you're going to be doing leasing, you might want to let your rental property owner know about this, that the tenant may request this. So this requires residential landlords to offer each tenant obligated on a lease the option of having the tenant's positive rental payment information reported to at least one national consumer reporting agency. So essentially helping build your tenant's credit. Exempt small non-corporate landlords. So here are the exemptions. Exempts any landlord of a residential rental building that contains 15 or fewer dwelling units, unless that landlord owns more than one residential rental building and is either a real estate investment trust, a corporation, or a limited liability company with at least one member corporation. For leases entered into on and after April 1st, 2025, the offer of positive rental payment information reporting must be made at the time of the lease agreement and at least one annually thereafter. For leases outstanding as of January 1st, 2025, the offer of positive rental payment information reporting must be made no later than April 1st, 2025. So a tenant may submit a tenant's completed written election of rent reporting at any time after tenant receives the offer of positive rental payment information reporting from the landlord. I'm not going to go through the whole entire thing, but if you are working with, people who own multiple buildings, you're doing leasing for them, things like that, or if you yourself own multiple buildings with 15 units or more, you may be asked to start reporting the tenant's positive payment history.